Alright, this video is about what it was like sleeping in a vehicle, homeless. I already did a video, but I don't think anyone even watched it or something. I don't even know. So the whole thing is, this vehicle that I'm in right now is not mine, but I have, person doesn't care that I'm in here, parked, sitting in it, okay, when they're not using it. Should explain that, but I had a vehicle that I slept in that was mine. I was homeless, okay, so I had to sleep in the vehicle. And I did at a truck stop, and then I also, which was horrendously horrible, which I wish I recorded all that stuff because it would have been a lot more entertaining than this video to actually show it, but whatever. Point is, up to the truck stop, it was horrible, it was noisy, hated that. I felt pretty safe though because you had the lights on and there's obviously, whatever, people working there all night, but then I slept at this 24-hour place, and there was a bunch of cars, so it kind of blended in. It wasn't like a vehicle sitting there with no other cars. Plus it was a 24-hour place, so I technically had a right to be there. But the worst thing that I hated about it was having to go in a public restroom. Every time I had to go to the bathroom, I hated that. Having to be in a, technically, okay, I was in the car, so it's like you kind of have some privacy. But it's like, if you're trying to sleep in your front of your car in the daytime and you're just sitting in your car, it's like, it's annoying. You don't really have privacy like you would if you had a house or something, okay? So it's annoying. And then you also are trying to be aware of your surroundings because you don't really want to just be falling totally asleep in a visible place where someone might try to, carjack someone because they might think you're an easy target or something. I'm assuming whatever. I'm assuming most people that would carjack would probably go for people that there's no one in the car, but I'm making a point. Like, I like to be aware of my surroundings in public, okay? So when I was homeless, I was sort of more like, when I'm in public, I try to be more aware of surroundings, but it was annoying. Like, you're in a car and I spent a lot of time at this store, parked there for hours and hours and hours. It was so draining in the summer heat. So tiring. You're just sitting there. I'm just sitting there like for hours and hours and hours. And then I would go in the store to go to the bathroom. And then I would come outside, sit in the vehicle in the heat. And I had some money that still a little bit, but it was running out. And I don't mean thousands of dollars either. I mean, like, I think I had a few $100s. So I had some money for food a little bit, but then I eventually had to borrow $100 from someone. And someone else also gave me like $60. But it was just, the whole thing was like, being out in public all day was just like, so draining. It was like having to go to a store to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Every time you go to the bathroom, you got to go inside this building. It's just like, and the 24-hour place that I was at, I tried to go and make sure that every time I went in, I bought something, because I didn't want them thinking, okay, this person keeps coming in here. They actually had a security person there. No one said anything or whatever, but thankfully they didn't have a problem with, whatever. But the point is, it's just like, you feel like when you're in a situation, at least I felt very, like, the world and whatever, that, stores like that are for people that have money, okay? It's set up for people that have money, meaning the food is there for people that have money. So if you don't have money, well, then why are you even in the store? Like, what's the point? Like, it's very, you feel like you can't operate because you don't have money. That's what it feels like. When in that situation I was in, being in public all day with no money and just having nowhere to really go, you just, be at a park and just sit there for hours. I just sit in the car, just literally out for hours and hours and hours, just or I would take some walks. But it's just the feeling of like, oh, tonight I have to go sleep in a car in a public area and go to the bath. And I'm happy I had a vehicle to sleep in, but because some people sleep literally outside in the street. And it wasn't the dead of winter either, so I'm happy that I had a vehicle. But I'm making a point that it's not just the physical, you're sleeping in a car. Like, I don't really necessarily care. I actually slept in a car outside of a house, you know, people that I was sort of staying with, whatever you want to call it. I slept outside of the house, but it's different because you're not in a situation where it's like, if you're going to get a cop knocking on the door or something like that. So it's not really the physically sleeping in the vehicle, really, as long as it's not the dead of winter or the extreme heat environment. It's really about the fact that, oh, am I allowed to be in this area? Am I allowed to be parked over here? Oh, is a cop gonna, harass me because I'm sleeping in a car? And even in the broad daylight, right? You might think, is some cop or someone gonna, think that if I sleep in a car in a parking lot of a store, even in the daytime for hours, would a cop harass you for that? I don't know. Probably depends on the state that you're in. Who knows? But it's just annoying, like that feeling of like you can't just have privacy and just do what you want to do because you're like in a public place, and it's so annoying. Not feeling like you can just have some privacy. You're just like, it's irritating. It's another stupid video if this battery didn't die.